My name is Serena, and I am a representative here at Pinnacle. I will have a friend on here as well. She'll be coming on at the end of the webinar. Her name is Jill. She'll be going over another opportunity with you that you can take advantage of after AEP and even now if you wanted to, truthfully. But we'll get into that. And with that, let's get started on the presentation. So today we're kind of focusing on after AEP, what's next. I know there's been a lot going on. It's been a very busy AEP. We've had a lot of disruption. We've had a lot of, plan termination, movement. So it's a little chaotic right now. And I realize probably a lot of people might have even registered for this and can't even attend it because it's so crazy right now. But let's talk about what we should do when the dust settles, right? Just a list here as a bullet point. The things we want to start with, we want to review results. We'll get into that. Getting organized always sounds good. Sometimes it's not possible, but we're going to try. Tracking our business and our compensation. The outreach I want to focus on, I think that we really want to pay attention to, especially this year with so much movement and plan changes, making sure we're doing retention calls and outreach to our members. The other election periods that do exist, we don't want to forget, we have OEP, open enrollment period. We have other special election periods that exist. We've got some, planned discontinuations going on. We have FEMA SEPs, people that move. Don't forget, we've got people turning 65 every day too. And then the other things that we can consider now that, AEP is coming to an end, some of our clients, this might be a good time to consider ancillary products. Maybe they do want to add a dental. Maybe we do want to think about a hospital indemnity product. And I want to close it out today with Jill. She'll be going over Signify HRA with you. You might have heard of it. Hopefully you have. If you haven't, you're going to learn all about it. But that is a good opportunity to not only touch base with your members, also help them and earn a little income as well. So we'll close with that today. So reviewing results, I want to focus on first, like the agent piece of it. What do we as a broker do that the member's not necessarily going to know or care about? But what we want to do is we want to make sure we're reviewing our book, make sure all your cases are showing up in your agent portal. I'm not sure if you've seen on LinkedIn, I know we did a post. I'm sure some of the carriers have been doing some email blasts. But with all these planned discontinuations, a lot of these clients were auto-enrolled into standalone drug plans because their plans were discontinued. So this is a year you really want to make sure your enrollments are syncing up, they're showing in your book, because we're a little worried that some of the timing on that might get messy. So if you wrote an Advantage plan and then their auto enrollment with a PDP plan comes through right after it, we might be kicked out of the Advantage plan. So this is the year we really want to be detail orientated, maybe even checking on some of your enrollments now with a carrier rep, making sure everything looks good in the CMS system. That's a good idea to do now, as well as at the close of it. Let's make sure everything we did is accounted for and showing up in our book. Besides the madness of this year, in a normal year, there is still an error margin with carriers. I worked at a carrier for 13 years, so I could tell you it happens. They're processing these enrollments, especially paper apps where they can't read. They read the broker number, one digit off or whatnot. It gets entered in as a house account or somebody else. So, there's always that chance that there could be an error. So you want to be on top of that. You want to double check your clients, make sure you're getting the credit where you're due credit. Try to use a single tracking tool. You don't have to be fancy and have a, big CRM system. Even if you're just using an Excel spreadsheet, that's fine. Whether you're using your Connection or your Sunfire, we at Pinnacle, we do have a system for you called Boss. That's free to you. Talk to your marketer about that. If you want to try to use that, find that helpful. Whatever you want to do, you just want to make sure you're keeping track, however you do it, and making sure you're getting credit and that what you have is matching with the carrier portals. And the items that you'll need, should you need to check or follow up, these are the demographic items you want to have in your Excel spreadsheet, whatever you're using. You want to have a name, obviously. You want to have a date of birth, the Medicare ID number, address, you want the phone number, and then the carrier plan name, okay? The other items should be important, especially this year with, like I was saying, about those, auto-enroll PDPs going on. Let's have the date the application was signed and submitted. The other piece of this is more for you to track your compensation. So you want to make a note, whether you make a number system or check or X, however you want to track that. Are they new to Medicare or are they a replacement? Obviously, that commission payout will be different, right? So that'll help keep things clean for you when you're tracking your clients and your compensation. This next screen here is going to be more geared towards members. So besides, me doing my bookkeeping and making sure everything's in the portals and my payments, what do I need to do that's member geared? Okay. I want to outreach my clients, make sure, have you received your ID cards? Have you received, your evidence of coverage or your summary of benefits? Have you had any pharmacy issues, any issues filling medication? Granted, you're not going to do this until after 1/1 because they're going to start using the plan 1/1, maybe like mid to end of January. Doesn't even hurt maybe to call them at the end of December just to say, hey, just to let you know I'll be checking in again in about a month or so to make sure things are working smoothly. If they haven't made any changes, likely they're not going to receive a new ID card unless something changes internally at the carrier. Sometimes they'll change, product benefit numbers internally, and that triggers an ID card. But if everything stays the same, then they're probably not going to get anything in the mail. But it doesn't hurt to check in and just let them know that as well. When you make your outreach calls, it might be a good time to mention, keep me in mind if you have any issues throughout the year. We do offer products that can help with your hospital copays, if you need a dental plan. I highlighted Signify Health because this will be something when Jill goes over it, you can kind of build it into that call. So we're doing a retention call and we can couple that with the Signify Health opportunity, which we'll go over. So it's just important to stay in front of them so that they're not feeling like, oh, they signed me up for something, now they're gone. And I met, Jimmy at Walmart and I'm going to sign up for that now instead during OEP. So we just want to stay in touch with our clients. OEP is available if anybody made a wrong selection, but remember, you can't openly advertise it. So just make sure you're contacting your members to make sure things are working smoothly. You're not going to put up a big sign that says, if you picked the wrong plan, call me. Can't do that. But it is there. It exists in case they did pick the wrong plan, right? The other thing, I was looking at the bottom bullet point here, and I've seen some of my brokers do this. I think it's not a bad idea. We always do ANOC meetings, but sometimes having a meeting in, say, like March isn't a bad idea just as a retention type meeting. They'll do it as like a member appreciation breakfast. And this only really is going to work if you have a lot of clients in a certain area. If you're, a phone sales agent, that's probably not going to make sense if you're selling in multiple states. But if you have a lot concentrated in one spot, these might not be a bad idea. They'll do sort of like a member breakfast, get up and remind everybody about the benefits they have with that carrier. Don't forget you have silver sneakers or you have these member discounts that they might have forgotten are included in their plan. And a lot of the carrier reps will like to come to those and get in front of your clients as well, just to touch base. Don't forget you have, a health navigator or whatnot, right? So those are a good idea if it makes sense, logistically based on how you're selling. Now, the open enrollment period, just as a review, I'm sure most of us probably know this, but in case some of us are new or forgot, OEP is different than AEP. So OEP is going to run January 1st through March 31st each calendar year. It is specific to Medicare Advantage only. So you have to be on a Medicare Advantage plan, okay? And you have a, whoops, I made a mistake time to make a change. So you could switch to a different plan. You could switch back to original Medicare and sign up for a standalone drug plan. Now, it's the drug plan that's going to move them out. It does not create a guaranteed issue for Medicare supplement, okay? So just keep that in mind. And this is a one-time election. So it's not like AEP where it's last app in, okay? They get a one-time, whoopsie, I can make a change. Or I forgot to make a change during AEP, let me do this now. You can continue to market during OEP, just like you normally would the rest of the year. We just can't call it out specifically. Like I was saying, no sign that says, hey, if you picked the wrong plan, call me. We can't be that obvious, but we know it's there and it exists, so we can use it. This next slide just kind of goes over the differences, which is a little redundant because I already talked about it, but what is the difference between AEP and OEP? So we know AEP is happening right now. October 15th through December 7th. Your coverage effective date is January 1st. Okay, it's open to anybody that's eligible for Medicare. And this is the one where the last application in is the one that sticks, right? So they can change their mind as many times. Last app in is the one that sticks. OEP is a little more selective. It's only available to those already in a Medicare Advantage plan. Okay, and it begins on January 1st, like we talked about the slide before. It only gives them a one-time change, so it's not a last app-in policy. Okay, they cannot switch from original Medicare to an Advantage plan. Remember, they've already have to be on an Advantage plan. They cannot join a standalone drug plan if they're only on original Medicare. Again, reiterating, they have to be on the Advantage plan. And I'm pretty sure this next slide, I just repeated everything I just said because I really wanted to drill it home, or I didn't realize I had two of the same exact slides. So that is just repeating what we just went over. Now, the open enrollment period, what can I and can't I do? Again, you can provide information upon a request. So somebody calls you and they want to know a little more about this plan or whatnot, or what is OEP? I'm hearing about it. Absolutely, you can answer that person's questions. You can still market to those turning 65. You can market to the low-income beneficiaries. You're focusing on the actual enrollment period. So again, we're not calling out OEP, but we're going to talk about, hey, if you're turning 65, or, did you know you qualify for these extra benefits, right? You want to follow up with your book of business. Again, this year, I think it's really important because there's been so much movement. So make sure these people are happy. They're not having any issues. There's no confusion. But what I cannot do, I cannot target Medicare Advantage enrollees, okay? So again, don't target ads like hate your plan, call me. You cannot contact any enrollees who choose a new plan during AEP. Again, we don't want to target. So it's there, it's just a little more subtly there for us to use. Besides OEP, there's other stuff going on, right? We have other steps that exist. It's not the only thing that we can use. So the other special election periods, you have people that are moving. If they're moving from one state or service area even to another, they have that 60 days to make a change. You have a lot of plan discontinuance. A lot of that's going on nationwide. We're seeing that. So remember, they have through the end of February to make a change. Most of these people likely will be rewritten during AEP. I would imagine you as an agent want to just do that. They're probably a little nervous. They got a letter. But they do have until the end of February if any did slip through the cracks there. You do have people that have a trial right. Okay, so that still exists. It's not used as commonly, but it does exist. And then you have 12 months to move to original Medicare and Medicare supplement in Part D. So if I signed up for a Med Advantage, I don't like it, I use my trial right, I can go back to original Medicare with a supplement and standalone drug plan. And then some other special election periods that exist. Like we said, there's FEMA. So there's some, the FEMA's going around. I know I've got some up here by me right now. You can check on the government website. If not, you could check with one of your marketers because we do have an internal list. So we could tell you if there's, a FEMA in your area. Some of them are county specific. Some of them are the entire state. So it's not an exact science. And the other thing is not all the carriers acknowledge them. So you could find a FEMA SEP, you could say, flooding or whatever in your state, but it doesn't mean that carrier acknowledges it. Some will take them, some won't. You'll want to double check on that as well. Okay, so you can check the FEMA site, FEMA.gov, or you could check with your marketer and we could check, we get an internal list as well and let you know what's going on. That might be easier. You also have that 5-star plan SEP that exists. I don't know that many that are out there anymore, but there are still some. So if you have any 5-star Medicare Advantage plans or drug plans in your area, you have that to use as well. That runs December 8th through November 30th. So that's why all these plans really want to be a 5-star, pretty much open all year. This last one is far and few between. Sometimes we have to use it if, something happens, someone signs up for something they didn't mean to. Misleading marketing. It's basically, misleading information in the marketing of the plan. It's a one-time change. If the regional CMS office determines that a violation occurred. So, again, that's something you're going to have to do with 1-800-MEDICARE. Probably don't want to use that a lot. I'm going to guess that's a big hurdle, but you could, an example being like someone called me without permission and enrolled me in a plan over the phone. We see that happen sometimes. I'd probably use this last one here as a last resort because you're going to be jumping through a lot of hoops. So if you have OEP or you have something else you can use, I'd probably start with that before I go through this last one, just to save your client some aggravation, right? And then don't forget, throughout the year, you have ancillary products. So your current book, they may be in need of certain, whether it's, again, hospital indemnity, whether it's a dental plan, they have things going on. This is stuff that we can add throughout the year. You've got some vision plans available. So, contact your marketer, find out what's in your area. That's something that can pay throughout the year. So you're not just waiting for AEP. Okay. And it helps them. If they need something or they need to get work done, there's coverage out there. And I will transition it to Signify Health. I just wanted to mention one thing that I thought of after I submitted my slide deck. The other, thing you want to think about is your lead opportunities throughout this time of year. So again, check with your marketer, check with Pinnacle. We have whether you're looking for phone lead opportunities, whether you want to try to do one of those seminars for the turn-in 65 population. Those always work really well, and those can be done year-round. I know winter's coming up. If you're in an area that snows, we can still do them. We just pick a snow date. You also have options through, Medicare Express and other vendors we use for, in-home appointments. So if you're looking for more information on lead opportunities, reach out to us and keep busy with those throughout the year as well. And then now I'm going to transition this over to my friend Jill. We're going to go over Signify Health, what it is, how you can build this into your retention calls and earn a little extra money, as well as help a member. So Jill, I'm going to send it over to you now.
Awesome. Thanks, Karina. I so appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us today. Once again, it's right before the Thanksgiving holiday. We know how busy you have been throughout this AEP. I keep calling it the most disruptive AEP that we've had in probably 20 years. And it continues to kind of kick us in the teeth, I think, in some ways or another. But it's winding down. And so doing all of the amazing activities that Serena has just gone through will help you not only succeed and survive through this AEP, but also thrive in next AEP. Signify Health is an organization that works with over 97 payers. We work with everyone from Cigna, Humana, United, Aetna, Health First, you name it, we're probably working with them. And we have this opportunity to work with these payers because we provide them a service. And that service is to actually do their in-home evaluations. So I'm going to walk you through our in-home evaluation so that you can, my screen didn't want to work, so I'm going to go this way. There we go. So Signify Health has been in business for over 10 years. And once again, we work with all of these payers. And we work to go in and do an in-home evaluation where we're collecting data from members that are really about the quality programs, social determinants of health, and risk adjustment. We serve Medicare Advantage, Medicaid, the commercial market, the ACA market. And then we have all of our providers. Our providers are nurse practitioners, physician's assistants. We have DOs and MDs that actually work for us. And once again, our carrier partners ask us to go into the home to see these members. Is this every single member? Absolutely not. We are asked to go in to see specific members that the health plans want us to go see. And this is called an in-home evaluation. Aetna calls it a healthy home visit. And once again, this is a comprehensive evaluation. We start really collecting all of those 300 plus data points the minute we drive up to that house. Can they go outside to get their mail? You and I walk outside every single day to go grab our mail, usually to then throw it right in the trash can. But can our members do that? Because that's super important. We're once again doing that comprehensive physical assessment. We're taking their blood pressure. We are taking their pulse. We may be asked to come in there and do an A1C. I would love for a clinician to come to my house and take my blood. That doesn't work in my world at all. But wouldn't that be amazing? And these clinicians can do that. They're really hyper-focused on chronic conditions. So think about COPD, CHF, diabetes. They're gathering all of that medical and social and family history. They're having a deep conversation with the member. They're going through all of those medications. They're going through a fall risk. They're closing lots of care gaps. They're checking about mental health. Are they depressed? Do they have anxiety? So we're collecting all of these data points. We then share it back with the member. We also share all that information with the primary care physician. And of course, we absolutely send it right back to that health plan. This year alone, and this number was back in September, we have done over 350 case management referrals. That might be for care coordination. Maybe we noticed that someone had an order for home health and they didn't have it. So we're going to help them coordinate that. Maybe we found somebody that has a food insecurity. We're going to help make referrals for that and connect all those dots. We become that bridge for healthcare. And then we also sit down with them and make sure that they can activate their benefits. If they're having any challenges, we once again try to help them connect those dots. Why it's super important for you as the agent is it actually helps you with the health plan connect with that member on a clinical level. It allows you to be that conduit. It is truly about providing comprehensive information so that we can mitigate any risks. And that's super important. So when we think about what we're doing and how today Signify works, what we do is, once again, this is not for every single member out there. No, the health plan gives us a list of members and they say, go see these members. So in a universe of 20 million lives, what we're doing is we are sending out an email, we're sending out a letter, we might be sending out a text, and we're placing phone calls. And when we're going in there to have that comprehensive assessment, we're typically there for about 45 minutes. But we've been there a whole lot longer too. We're there to answer questions from the member. A lot of times, members might have a loved one with them, so they may have questions as well. And we absolutely work together to make sure that they get those answers from us. So once again, we get that list from the payer. We send them out, once again, phone calls, text messages. And then today, we have our team that's called a member engagement coordinator. They'll do that outreach and they may get them on the phone and then they would schedule that appointment. Think about all the phone calls that your members, they're your clients, are receiving. That's a lot of phone calls. So what we at Signify are doing is we're actually partnering with Pinnacle. We're asking Pinnacle agents to go ahead and have these discussions with their members. And if you'd like to see, once again, what an assessment looks like, please feel free. That's in this mustard color box. You can go to signifyhealth.com/hello from Signify, or even just go to www.signifyhealth.com. And you can go on that website and you can see testimonials from members about what they loved about their visits. And once again, after we do this in-home evaluation, what we do is we send that information to the primary care physician, and also we give a copy to that member. So we are asking that you, as the owner of the relationship with your members, that you go ahead and you schedule these appointments. And that is easily done. You can easily check at www.schedule.signifyhealth.com. And when you're able to go ahead and check to see if somebody has an eligible visit, and I'm going to actually show you how to do that, and you schedule that visit with them, we're actually going to pay you $50. Scheduling literally takes a couple of minutes. And then also, when we think about what this does, is it tethers that member to you as the agent. We know that we're on the latter half of AEP, but that doesn't mean that 100 different people aren't calling your member, trying to get them to sign up for their plan, or trying to get them and steal them from whatever health plan you've already put them on, because we know that that's actually happening today. So once again, what we're looking to do is through Pinnacle, and Pinnacle has done all the hard work. They have done all the contracting. They have done everything. What we do is every month, we send Pinnacle a list of members that have been scheduled. We verify those, very simple process, and then we send Pinnacle a check. Actually, I know that check hit there today, and they're going to go ahead and pay all those agents that scheduled visits in October. So everyone that booked visits in October, Pinnacle is going to send that money. But guess what? We're going to send that check again in November and in December and January and every single month. This is an ongoing opportunity. So every single month, you would be able to look at your members to see if anybody is eligible for an assessment, and then schedule that visit. And for every single member that you schedule, it's $50. We have a lot of agents that are they've got people in the office that are helping them do this. And that's because they're so busy with AEP. So it's a great opportunity if you've got somebody in the office, or once again, when you're doing those welcome calls and those check-in calls, like Serena said, in January and February, it's a great time to check them as well. Now, I'm one of these people, when somebody tells me something's easy, I don't really believe them. I'm like, is it really that easy? I want to know if it's that easy. And so I'm one of those disbelievers. So I'm actually going to show you how easy this is, because I think it's super important for us to be able to see how easy. So once again, I went to schedule.signifyhealth.com. And here's that same picture you saw on that slide. And then I'm going to just go ahead and I go down to agent and broker. I, of course, have this bookmarked on my computer. So I recommend everybody go ahead and book schedule.signifyhealth.com. And you can always bookmark the page that is for agents. And that's the one I have booked. And then you see that my information is already populated. After you put this information on your system more than 2 times, it actually saves, which is fantastic, because I hate having to go ahead and continue to put in the same information all the time. So you see, I have my first name, my last name, I have Pinnacle right here. And then you go ahead and you can either put your MPN, or if you have your office person doing it, they could use your MPN as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look up my member information. And I am going to go ahead and type that information in. You know, when you want to type, it never works. It doesn't go as easily as you want it to. Here we go, 1930. And then this is the MBI number, or the health plan subscriber number. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this information in as well. So once again, when you're doing your calls, because you have a member and they just recently, you're doing that welcome call, you're making sure that they got their membership cards, or you're just checking in with them to see they're able to access their new health plan. This is a great time for you to go ahead and check to see if they have an eligible assessment. I'm going to go ahead and click next. So it goes ahead and it pulls up all of the information on Miss Barbara. It tells me that she lives at 739 Cowboys Way. Can you tell that we're a Dallas-based company? I mean, the Dallas Cowboys are terrible this year. It's just like, man, I wouldn't want to put anything about the Dallas Cowboys right now. But anyways, sorry. So it goes ahead and it pulls up the address, and that is the correct address. So I'm going to simply click next. I can select what language. So if, for example, I had a call the other day and that we needed to see somebody in, they preferred Korean. So we selected that. So I'm going to keep that here. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select a day and time. With this one, I selected it as a video appointment. We also, of course, have in-home appointments. This one is just specifically, I wanted to do a video on, and I'm going to say that we want it on Wednesday. This is, of course, because she lives in Texas. These are all in Central Time. I'm going to say that Miss Barbara Case is she likes to get up late, so I'm going to pick 1 o'clock. And I'm going to simply click next. Now, this is the page I always like to spend a minute on. Not every single carrier gives a reward. So just like not every single carrier allows us to have their entire book of business, they give us only eligible members. They once again only have this gift card for specific members. Now I'll tell you, it seems like there's a lot of them, but I always like to say, do not lead with the gift card. Hey, let's schedule you for an in-home evaluation, and hey, you're going to get a gift card. Because what if you go in there to schedule them and there's no gift card? And that stinks. So I don't lead with the gift card. I almost use it as, aha, there's a surprise. The health plan is actually going to send you a gift card. So I'm going to choose that I want a Kroger gift card because it's coming up on the holidays and I could use some help with my groceries. So I'm going to go ahead and select a Kroger gift card, and I go ahead and I select next. So once again, this is just that confirmation page. So it's from Miss Barbara. She's going to get a Kroger gift card that's going to be sent to her from the carrier. I'm going to put in here that her son is going to join her, because it's always good to know if you have somebody on there. And then I got all of this information. Now we want to make sure that we can confirm that appointment with Miss Case. So I'm going to go ahead in here and put that here is the phone number, and I want them to confirm this appointment for them. And then I want my son, Ben, I want him to get the email confirmation, because I want him to put it on the calendar. I want him to be there for that appointment. And once again, I'm going to put that on there. And I simply submit. It's simple. It's easy. We are not asking you to follow up with your members. We're not asking you to make sure that they went through with the appointment. We are simply asking you, as the agent, to go ahead, educate your members to going ahead and having an in-home evaluation, and then scheduling that visit. And once again, here's that information. And then that information would, once again, that email would go over to ben@gmail.com. And then we would go ahead and do that call confirmation to let them know that, hey, we're going to see you on Wednesday, the 27th. It's literally that simple. So we appreciate the opportunity to work with Pinnacle. I've had the pleasure of working with Pinnacle for a number of years, best in class. This is another way for you as the agent to be part of the healthcare equation, and also for you to make additional compensation, not just in January, not just in February, not just in November and December, but this is every month you can do this. The carriers send us additional members every month, and those members are your members. So Pinnacle calls or Signify calls, but I'd prefer if it was a Pinnacle team member that called your member, because they're your member. They trust you, and I'd rather help you as the agent have that compensation. So, Serena, I think we're good with walking through all the wonderful things of Signify, and just also, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jill. And I don't see any questions here. If you guys have questions, if you want to type them in really quick, give it a few minutes. If not, Jill, do you have your email information up on this?
Yes, ma'am.
You know what? I'll put it in the chat, or put it in the chat box.
I can. Here.
Yeah.
Well, I can do that real quick. That's easy, and also I can put it up here as well.
Build it. I think you guys, like if we're going to do retention calls, perfect, then we should try to build this in, while we're doing our retention calls. It makes sense. And even if you have an assistant, you could start working some of these now. Someone, I know it's a busy time, so you may not personally have time to make these calls, but someone assisting you can. So they don't have to be a licensed agent to make these phone calls. So just something to keep in mind, a little extra money, helping a member out. And let's see, we got a question that came in. Okay, so I guess in the past, clients received a call from Signify scheduling the call and offering a $50 card to the client. So if they're going to schedule the call, the client's no longer receiving a gift card, correct? And I believe, because that depends on the carrier and what the carrier is offering, right, Jill?
That is always the carrier. So obviously, when Signify would call and they would tell them about the gift card, they're seeing exactly what we saw on the screen. They don't lead with the gift card because it's not us at Signify that offers it. It's always from the carrier.
Makes sense. Yep. And then how do I get a list of my clients? So what you'll do, take Jill's information down and you'll just shoot her an email and she'll run a report and tell you of your clients who qualifies. So that's what you'll do to get your list. So take that down. It's on the screen now.
Yep. Take your phone, take a snapshot of it. Super easy to do.
There you go. Perfect. Okay, looks like we're good. I am going to wrap it up. Thanks, Jill.
Thanks, Serena. Have a happy holiday.
You too. Bye, everybody.
Don't forget to subscribe to catch the latest news in insurance and agent training. See you in the next video.